All right, we're live. What's up, Skate fam?
What up, skate fam?
We can give
What up,
everybody
children over 30?
or children over 30.
Yeah.
So we give everybody a couple minutes to come in. I don't see but like one viewer so far.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at it on my phone and oh no, I just got the notification. Yeah, we're good. Yeah, okay.
All right on.
Yeah, we're live now. Sweet.
Right on.
Thumbs up it because that's the type of person that I am.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
So let me get some stuff knocked out here while you're.
Sure.
And then I'm gonna pull up those wizard skating boots that we were talking about before the stream. So
boots with the fur,
because we did a questionnaire on my channel on the community post, and like more than half of the people that interacted with it said that they wanted to talk about wizard skating. So we're going to start off by talking about the new wizard skating boots. Give me just a second here, and I'm going to just make sure that everything is good with this video. Okay. Looking good. Okay, so we got these wizard boots right here.
And what's the price tags on them?
Let's get the price tags. I don't know. So the base, $800. What? Oh my god! You have got to be kidding me, dude. You have got to be kidding me. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so it looks like one is higher.
Mm-hmm.
So there's base and base high.
Yeah, supposedly for the Wizard Advanced, you get the high one, and for the other ones, you get the low one.
Okay. Yeah. And okay. So here's my question. Why does the low one come with a good buckle and the high one just comes with these Velcro straps?
So if I had to pose a theory, it's that you probably tighten the lower buckle or the lower strap, whatever, and then you tighten the higher one, and then all of a sudden the lower one is loose again. So you have to tighten that one again, and then maybe you have to tighten the top one again. So maybe it's better for like that sort of scenario where you have to like go back and forth and retighten stuff a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Maybe because Velcro straps are a good deal more flexible than buckles. So maybe 2 buckles was too much.
Right.
It ended up digging into the shin a lot because I can see having like that much plastic. Yeah.
Dude, that price kills me.
It's a kills me. Tag.
You could get some of the best like ice skating boots in the industry. Like this is almost custom boot price. And,
a good point to clarify at that point too is that figure skating is so much bougier than rollerblading. I mean, like, so I mean, just your price for entry, to be in that sport, like you got to have some financial backing of some sort, so they can get away with, again, very high dollar boots, very high dollar blades, charging by the hour for ice time, stuff like that.
Yeah. And then all the sharpening that you have to do. So I guess that's not too different from having to buy new wheels, but it's like every 30 hours you have to sharpen. And for me anyway, it's like $20 a sharpening around here. So I've heard that it's cheaper in other places, but
it seems about standard. But so I mean, something to be said for just certain disciplines being, I guess, used to paying more for things, which rollerblading is definitely heading in that direction. I remember not too many years ago, there were so many boots that you could get into for $200. Like Law from Back to Blading, like he started his whole thing. I think he did like 10 skate reviews or something like that, and his criteria was it's got to be $200 or less, you know.
Okay.
And I think you'd be hard pressed to find like much of anything at that point anymore. I mean, you could barely get into like some Flying Eagles for $200, you know.
Hey, speaking of which, check this out. Daniel says I got some custom Drift 2 with custom logos, heat moldable, full skate for $320. My favorite skates ever. So I'm assuming he's talking about like the Flying Eagle Drift. I guess they have a 2.0.
I don't know if mine's are 2s or if they're 1s. I don't know. Maybe they've revised them since I got mine, but
okay.
Yeah, the cool thing about those is they do have like completes that they'll sell shops and stuff, but you can also like for the same price get custom like from from Flying Eagle. So
right.
Yeah.
By the way, chat, this is a ask me anything. So if you have questions or you have something you want to say, just ask us questions. We're just here to hang out with y'all tonight. Drew and I were talking about some, quite a few things prior to the stream, and wizard skating being one of them. We're going to get into that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. But let's make sure that we do like, let's talk about the boots a little bit more.
Okay.
So do you have thoughts outside of Jesus, the price tag?
Well, I mean, I don't know enough about them to say that I really understand what the difference between the CJ, the Seba CJ, and this boot is. Mm-hmm. Other than, I mean, obviously FR is making this.
Yeah, I want to say, does it say on the spec sheet, does it have like integrated Intuition foam in it? I think
it says Intuition X Wizard 3M liner.
Okay, so it has a separate liner then.
Okay. So I guess the CJ had to be gutted, right? So it had a...
Yeah, they did have some like factory customs, I think, that got mailed to them like already gutted, which was nice. Because there were actual like seams and stuff in there. When you pulled out the liner, it wasn't like loose foam and just all kind of like weirdness from people gutting them. But yeah. I will say the one cool thing about it is it's a definite like milestone that the skating discipline has like a boot now. You know what I mean? Like there's a company that's saying, hey, this is like a big enough deal that we will like properly put out a boot that's like, designed for this style of skating.
Right.
And a lot of that, is like, Leon's relationship with Seba and FR and stuff like that. But it's a first, which is pretty cool. I will say, man, I mean, I know we talk about like 165 all the time, but like I feel like like the Seba Igor, right? Maybe the FR Igor.
Yeah.
I feel like it's cheaper and the same thing and has been around for like a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just 165.
Yeah. So they made like a UFS Igor basically with like an Intuition liner.
So is Seba still making that? Because I know FR makes it, but
I don't know.
Seba still making it too?
Yeah, it's tricky. I actually I was watching an interview with Sebastian on the what is that shop website that's in like the Netherlands, Amsterdam? This is Seoul. Yeah, okay. So he did an interview with him, and apparently Sebastian is back working with Seba and doing like product design, or he has some sort of like like higher up position in the company. So technically, like they're less separate than they've ever been.
Okay.
I don't know, if I would call them the same company necessarily, but they definitely like are close enough that they kind of plan things together. And I'm interested to see how that kind of pans out, because did somebody keep texting me? What the hell? That was Brad.
What did he say?
Okay, cool. Whose account? David's, never mind.
Yeah.
What was I talking about? Oh yeah. But I'm interested to see how that develops and how they sort of become their own brands, because it seems like there's a lot of overlap betwixt the two, right?
Yeah. For sure. And I don't even know what the what the the relationship is anymore. Like I know that Sebastian, or I guess Sebastian, doesn't have anything to do with Seba anymore, and
He
FR is
does.
his company.
He does.
Does
That's what I'm
he?
saying. Yeah, he's back like doing some sort of.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Like I don't know what is going on with that. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they should really be more public and transparent about that thing. I mean, like one interview with like the This Is Soul guy. I mean, I love, that dude and that YouTube channel and everything, but
Yeah.
like, companies can have press releases, anyway. But yeah, I'm interested to see how they sort of like differentiate from each other because I mean, it seems like Seba was started as the like slalom brand. And then FR took the namesake of, they're obviously the best-selling skate, which was the FR. But
Right.
FR as a brand isn't, I would say, like exclusively or even majorly into like free ride, it's the FR free ride.
Right.
Because like they have the Daria, they have, if it's not the Igor, it's some like male equivalent of, the Daria, where it's like carbon fiber cuff, carbon fiber boot, slalom skate. And then Seba, I mean, yeah, they have the CJ, they have the highlight, which you don't really enjoy. They have the tricks, which I super enjoy. But
I won't say I don't enjoy the highlight. It's just the plastic highlight is the one that I have, and I find that it's quite heavy with that. Like all the metal for that 7-hole mount is really heavy. And then I also have another problem with it, and that is that one of the buckles is failing. Like the top buckle on one of the boots is failing, so it gets stuck. And every time I use it, I think, is this the time I'm going to have to get a knife and cut this buckle off? So anyway.
No replacement buckles, David, but I understand.
Yeah, but I mean, look at how many skates I have behind me. So
I know. Yeah, I'd be interested to see weight-wise, like how they do against like an FR boot.
Yeah. Okay, real quick, I've got a question up here from Jake
Mr. Roberts.
Yeah, Jacob Bulla, the Aussie inline skater that is no longer inline skating. He's cycling these days.
It's getting out there, being healthy.
No, it's awesome. I follow some of his adventures. It's cool stuff. So he says, do you think the increase in price for inline is due to the sport picking up in popularity or maturing into niches such as Wizard, for example? Yeah, Drew and I were actually talking about this prior to the live stream about how Wizard skating is kind of like a household name, like we were looking at videos pertaining to Wizard skating, and it seems like just putting Wizard skating in the title of your video nets you six-figure views, 100,000+ views.
Yeah, pertaining to prices and stuff, I blame Adapt.
Okay.
Because they proved that you can sort of get away with it, I guess. Like for a while, their little aggressive boot, whatever it was called, was, it was doing pretty well. And a lot of people were skating them and stuff. And like it became acceptable to spend that much money on stuff. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, because prior to that, a bunch of companies were complaining. They're like, look, we've been charging the same for these skates as we have since the 90s. Like costs and stuff have gone up. So, ideally we would be able to, keep up with that and, raise our prices as, inflation goes. But yeah, I definitely think that the market for like, maybe we'd call like a boutique skate or something like that is a relatively new phenomenon. And interestingly enough, I don't think it correlates with quality as much as it should. Like, I don't know if you've ever like seen Adapts in person or like held them, but they don't.
I've handled them, but I've never been able to try them.
Yeah, I don't think they have the soft boot thing figured out. It's not like when you pick up a nice figure skating boot and you're like, okay, this is nice quality leather and it's made with Elast, and it's got this like, amazing lining and like super dense foam and all that. It's like, I understand it's handmade supposedly there's like some question on that. Even like people are questioning whether they're outsourcing some of their like handmade stuff, which I guess it could be handmade in China and still handmade technically. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think the quality necessarily follows with the price tag in some instances. And sometimes, it's just a building material. Like a lot of carbon fiber skates have to be like hand layered, which actually sucks because you end up with really it's not going to be consistent.
Right.
So yeah, I've talked to people before and they're like, yeah, it's regarding the lateral frame adjustment. They're like, I have to do that on these skates because the mounts are a little bit wonky on these like high dollar carbon fiber skates because again, they're hand layered, so they can't be like 100% perfect. And that leads to like inconsistency. So
right.
I don't know. There's many thoughts. It's a big rabbit hole. Yeah.
Right.
Hey, Brad.
Here.
Yeah.
What's up, Brad? What's up, Endless Blading Company? Speaking of the Endless Blading Company, yeah, so we were talking about this earlier. I am getting ready to test the Arc CS more, but it's been raining where I am, so I put the skates together like a week ago and have not been able to test them. I've got like a couple of sessions on them, but it was quite a while ago, and I had I keep wanting to call them Steba Street Invader, FR Street Invaders. And dude, so I feel like I've come a long way from when I first started this channel. I was using Street Invaders on a couple of my setups and I liked them. I do not like them now. I do not like them. I won't say that they're just like terrible wheels, but I don't like the round profile. I'm definitely a bullet profile wheel guy.
Yeah. Do you get the sort of like powdery sensation with them that I've described before? Like they just don't grip the way that you'd expect them to. Like some wheels are more gummy and some are more like chalky almost.
I don't feel like I get. So the ones that I was using with the Arc CS the first couple times I skated it, I didn't feel like I really got a whole lot of grip at all.
Yeah, and they're 84A, which is weird. Like you would think, plenty, but
they really ride more like 86, and I kind of feel like they feel like cheap wheels, to be honest. But maybe it's just because I've been skating like undercover and NPC, like junk wheels and stuff lately. So I have.
Honestly, I'd rather skate Lebedas.
Yeah.
I mean, the FRs last longer, but.
Yeah, see, Jake says, I found Street Invaders to be slow and mushy when I used to use them.
They're super heavy too. I don't know what it is about them. Maybe it's like the core to urethane ratio or something like that, but there's some heavy wheels.
You're getting some comments here, Drew. Let's address these. This Decoy says, hey, Drew, what's your relationship with Flying Eagle now? Are you still doing anything for them?
I am not. So interesting thing is the big person that I had a falling out with, his name was Jeff Lynette, and he started out just sort of as their photographer for the US stuff. And then he gradually sort of morphed into like the de facto team manager because like they were having trouble like just bridging the gap into like the US market. And like, they didn't know the market over here. They didn't know like the skaters over here, anything like that. So he kind of like put together a little thing. And that dude was just like a total just scumbag. So yeah, had a falling out with him, and like as a result of that, had a falling out with Flying Eagle. Since then, I've talked to Tracy at Flying Eagle, and like we're on good terms and everything, and I wish them the best, and there's no bad blood between me and like that company at all. But as far as like doing anything for him, no, I'm not doing anything for him.
Right on. Brad says the Street Invaders feel like chalk to me.
Yeah, they're powdery. I'm telling you. No, it somehow makes sense when you're skating.
I'm rocking the LEDs at the glow skates.
This dude's always talking about the light up, man.
Yeah, what do you got, Daniel? What do you got here? Are you rolling the Luminous, or did you get some other brand? Matt Hafner says CS seems better for wizard style, but agile enough for other stuff. Not heavy like Wizard frames. Dude, I've never handled Wizard frames, so I can't speak on that, like the weight, but I've heard that they're heavy, and I can tell you that endless frames, like thick, chunky, I don't want to call them like chunky looking, but you know what I mean, where they don't have like pieces cut out of them. It's like a solid wall frame. They're so light. They're so light for that, especially the CS, because it's a smaller frame. I have the regular arc and the CS, and it's like, yeah. Someone please show me wheels that outperform Made in USA wheels. Yeah. All the best wheels that I have had are made in the States.
Yeah, we need like some Lithuanian company to just shake it up.
That's okay. We got another question for you, Drew.
Okay.
Drew, what do you think of ARC CS versus the four-wheeled rockered setups? Have you had more time on them? I'm still trying to make up my mind, but I've got more time on the ARC CS than a four-wheeled deep rocker.
There are advantages to both. So for general skating, like around the city, the four-wheel setup is going to be better. You just get bigger wheels on it, and you know you have to push less of them, and you know that's that. For doing stuff that requires me to go up on the toe and make a transition, the four-wheel setup is better because there's less out front. Though I will say that when I made the adjustments to the CS, pushing it farther and farther back, it got to a point where it was well within like the scope of like acceptability, I will say. Like I didn't find myself tripping over it like I was like in the first section, and it was like, you know, I didn't have to work nearly as hard to get up on that toe wheel. So yeah, a lot of that stuff came together. I will say that with they have effective like 73 millimeter wheelbases on the CS, because you have the 68s and the 76s alternating. It's pretty freaking agile, man. So I feel like if we're talking about strictly the other thing about the five wheel, so when I adjusted it even further back, but I had this, you know, if you have it centered, you'll have the same sort of thing where trusting your heel wheel feels a lot better. And I feel like being able to trust the back of your frame lends itself very well to better posture overall when you're skating. Because anytime you're on like a back edge and you really need to like stand up tall and like take your shoulders and like just lean into that curve, you know what I'm saying? And like trust that you're not going to fall backwards and hit your head. It's a really good feeling. So I think there's a lot of times when I probably could have trusted the back wheel on like a 4x80 setup a little bit more than I did. But again, it's like that fear of danger is maybe like a little like asterisk, like I don't know, maybe I should just stay here instead of like really like trusting that back. So advantages to both. I would say overall for like a dance frame, probably the CS. But if I had to pick only one frame to do like any type of skating, it would be a four wheel.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like I don't have, again, a lot of experience with the CS yet, but I skated the heck out of the ARC when I first got it. Mm-hmm. And I had the ARC before it released to the public. So I had it for quite some time, and it was it's like the best trail skating frame that I have. And I say that because like I know a lot of people like to do trail skating with flat setups, but I don't. I mean, I won't say I don't. But
do you like it more than the 90 for trail skating?
Yeah.
Yeah, how come?
It's just as fast.
Really? Okay.
It's just as fast. And the 90 is long, you know, mm-hmm. And the ARC has a better rocker on it, in my opinion. Like, I mean, they both have good rockers. Like, if you're looking for less rocker, if you want more of like a trail skate with just like a little wobble to it, like a little bit of agility, then
just so you can like dodge a person, you know.
Yeah, then maybe the 90 is your thing. But like, Yeah. I want so much agility. I really love how deep of a rocker the
Yeah.
arc has.
Well, and see, that's the thing that kind of like messes up our perception from, I think, the general public is like, if we're not on a maneuverable setup, like we're having a bad time. And it doesn't even matter, like, I mean, we'd probably be on like 3x110s, like completely flat, which on paper is the ideal like straight line trail skating setup. And then like me and you would just be miserable because we're like, well, I can't like turn my foot at all. This is a bad time, So it's, yeah. Anyway, sorry, I interrupted you. If you want to keep.
This guy Stephen Harris, he is an old friend of mine from, like, in real life, from elementary school. He's got a cool gaming stream that he does on Facebook. So
Yeah.
yeah. It's Rockstar Gaming.
What does he play?
He plays like mainly Zelda stuff, but it's not only Zelda stuff. He plays lots of stuff, and it's a family friendly stream, so it's
Yeah.
cool. I watch his stuff pretty often.
Go into rabbit holes a little bit. I was thinking about it the other day and like the legacy of the PS4 and the Xbox and the Switch, and I feel like the Switch has the best games.
Dude, okay.
Really
We could go down a rabbit hole here, but I feel like we'll lose our audience because this
okay,
is
okay, fine.
But yes, I totally agree. Nintendo has like the most optimized games in the industry. Their coding is cleaner than anybody else. Period.
Yeah, and it's just anyway. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So okay, we got a question from Jacob again. Question for both of you: single density versus dual density wheels, as in with a speed ring also applicable to indoor wheels in hockey. So I this is over my head. Do you?
What? No, you have dual. You're what do you call
Maybe
them?
I just don't know the terminology.
Rink rats. Your dual pour. They're not rink rat, but what are they?
The freestyle the NPC wheels, like the little 76 millimeter ones.
Yeah, those are dual pour.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was thinking he was maybe talking about like a different. It's like a different density in the middle, right? So it's harder. Like the urethane in the middle is harder, and on the outside it's softer. Is that
opposite?
Oh, so why is it softer in the middle?
Rebound and grip.
Okay.
Yeah, your junk wheels. Junk. Yeah.
Well, I love junk wheels.
Yeah,
I think junk makes some of the best wheels that I've ever skated, period.
You skated the NPC Black Magic, right?
I want to say I tested some years ago, but
okay, but not, you haven't like got it.
Yeah, I don't have like a frame of reference there.
Okay. They're better. Dual density is better. There's the answer.
Okay. Yeah.
It sucks because they're more expensive and they wear out faster. So as you approach that inner layer of very soft urethane, like they start to feel very bad. But yeah, given unlimited money, and if NPC made Black Magics in all of the sizes that I wanted them, I would just skate them. They're the best wheels. They're the best.
Okay. Yeah. I can agree that NPC makes really amazing wheels. Yeah, Brad says 3x110 flat all day for trail skating for me. Yeah, it's such a nice coasting setup. It really is. I just, the only reason I say that I like the arc so much for trail skating is because if I can pick a rocker pretty much in any situation, I'm gonna pick a rocker.
Exactly.
I like the way that it behaves, and it's like if my intention was just to skate forward, then I'd be like, oh yeah, 3x110 all day because it's fast and it's stable, and like you can't beat that if you're just gonna skate forward. But dude, I'm gonna skate sideways and backward, and I'm gonna weave around people and treat them like they're pylons, and I just want the agility. So yeah, I'm gonna.
Yeah, it's a more enjoyable skating experience for those of us that do that kind of thing. What are you gonna do?
Got
As a matter of fact, when I got endless 84s, Brad, when I got the endless 84s, like
it's talking to you, Brad.
I skated them like one time with like just the built-in rocker, and I was like, okay, I know what that's like, and then I switched it out, and then like did the banana rocker on top of the normal ones, and I was like, yeah, I really enjoyed these. This is great. But
after I made my own customizations to them.
Well, yeah, but like point is like even like that half mellow rocker on like a 4x84 frame, it just didn't feel right to me, and that's rockered.
So we got another question here from Joe Schmo. What's up, Joe? By the way, Joe is a long-time viewer. This guy was around prior to 1,000 subscribers.
OG.
So he is an
Joe.
He is an OG. Just want to give you a shout out for being an OG, Joe. So Joe says, would you say that short radius blade 10-inch ice skates would go with everything equal, a more aggressive sharpen to accommodate the limited contact area?
What?
I'm not sure I understand the question. Are we talking about hockey skates here? Or would you say that short radius blade?
Okay, so he's saying a very curved blade.
10 foot. He's talking about the rocker radius.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want a more aggressive hollow on it, so you get more grip.
I mean, if I was for hockey, yes. For figure skating, no. So my hockey blades, I have the hollow radius cut to a 1/2 inch, and that I think it's kind of in the middle, but it's a little more on the sharp side. And I go with 5/8, which is one step the other way for figure skating. And it's because I want to be able to twizzle and stuff, so I don't want as much grip. I want to be able to slip and get a slide on the edges when I want it. But yes, for hockey, if I had a really aggressive rocker on my hockey skates, I'd probably sharpen them a little bit more.
Yeah, and the nice thing about it is, I mean, a lot of it too comes down to weight, and wheel durometer is supposed to as well, which I think is really like a thing that's missing on like our side of the industry, because hockey players understand this, roller hockey players understand it. And there's even like charts, like, for players, this weight to this weight, you should be using this hardness. But somebody that weighs like 200 pounds is going to have a completely different 85A experience than I am. Like, that's just the nature. I mean, that's what A is. It's like, how much weight does it take to like squish this thing? So yeah, just play around with it, dude. If try to go a little bit more aggressive on the sharpening next time you do it. And if you don't like it, in a couple hours, it'll be knocked down and you'll be fine again. So yeah.
I think also there are places where you can have the profile of your blade changed with hockey skates. I have a buddy who skates in hockey skates, and he just got a new set of blades and had them cut to like a more stable profile. And they because they kind of tried what Joe is talking about here, right? So he had a less stable profile prior, and he was having them sharpened to like a 1/2 inch. And this guy he's only been skating about a year. So he's pretty good because he's like taking ice skating lessons and stuff, but he's not what I would call an exceptionally experienced skater. And he had these more like stable profile blades sharpened a little less. Like that's what the shop did. They were like, we're going to take this to 5/8 because this is a more stable profile. And he skated like 3 or 4 sessions on them and was telling me like, I can't find the edge. Like, it feels like I can't find the edge and I'm just slipping all over the place. And then suddenly the edge is there. And what it was, I think, is his muscle memory just had not adapted to that. And he skated like 3 or 4 sessions on them and was so frustrated with them And I was like, dude, just go to the shop and make them sharpen it to a 1/2 inch. Like that will probably fix it. And he sent me a text later that day and was like, yep, you were right. I went to the shop, I went to Pure Hockey, and they sharpened them to a 1/2 inch, and now they're perfect. Like I got on the ice and everything just came together.
There you go.
So yeah, Joseph, Blade Tech does multi-profile custom profiles. Probably will try them. How much does your buddy weigh? I honestly don't know. I would say he's in like the 160 to 170 pound range, but I'm honestly not sure. He's a bigger guy than me, and I weigh 140 to 145, but I wouldn't say he's much bigger. So yeah, maybe like 20 pounds more than me. Jake says, what tips would you advise to rollerbladers curious about getting into ice skating and vice versa, ice skaters looking to get into inline? Ooh. So rollerbladers getting into the ice, the first thing that I would say is slow down, because it does not work the same here. And you cannot do a hockey stop the same way.
Don't try to hockey stop on your first day.
Do not try to use rollerblader muscle memory to do any sort of hockey stop or slide. Dude, let me tell you, the first time I made this mistake, I know this mistake intimately. One of the first times that I ice skated and got the bright idea that I was going to figure out how to hockey stop, I tried to do a hockey stop, or what we call a parallel slide. And everybody that can do it knows when you're on the on the street and you're in wheels, you got to cut into the heel real hard to get the skate to break loose, right? And on the ice, if you do that, all you're going to get is a tight turn. So the harder you cut into your heels like that, the more grip you're going to have. And so I tried this, and my skates came out from under me. And I mean, like my body went like this in the air, and my feet were here, and my head hit the ice first. And then and we had a 2-hour drive from the rink, and my spine was so jacked up from the impact that when I got out of the car, my friends had to help me walk in the house because my back and my legs had become stiff from the injury. And I went to like a chiropractor the next day and was laying in bed for like a week. It was bad.
That's real.
So so that's my advice: is if you're going from one to the other, don't try like stops and it works the same. Like if you're an ice skater, you're going toward the middle of your blade when you're hockey stopping, and you're hockey stopping like closer to the flat, like pretty shallow. And if you try that stuff on inlines, you'll just go tumbling.
Yeah. When I go back and forth between wheels and ice, the first thing I do is just a crap load of power pulls just to get used to how they work again.
Yeah.
And that does like 90% of the job. So if you're able to do power pulls, once you get on a different, if you get on wheels for the first time, or you get on like blades for the first time, I would definitely like do those and just sort of like feel out the differences. And once you can kind of comfortably do those, a lot of the adaptation will be there. Yeah.
Skating Southern New England says it was the opposite for me when I first got blades after skating on ice for 25 years. Try doing an ice hockey stop on wheels for the first time. Yeah.
Both great ways to hit your head. They really are.
Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic, actually.
Exactly. That's a no-go. That's a no-go. I'm going to say don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that. So I guess if I was going to give advice to inline skaters for getting used to the ice, honestly, the best thing that you can do is walk over or skate over to the boards and put your hands on the boards and bend your knees. and slide your blades across the ice and get a
Yeah.
feel of what position is slippery and has some slick to it, and then what position starts to stick.
Yeah.
And understand that your inside edges can go this way, your outside edges cannot go this way. So you've got to be precise. You can slide on your flat, you can slide on your inside edge as long as you don't like start too deep. But if you're doing like a plow stop and you go over to your outside edge, that foot is going to get stuck in the ice.
Yeah.
So,
another thing, if you're used to rollerblading and you're on figure skates, which I would recommend, I think there's a lot more to be had, learning in figure skates than hockey skates, personally. You're going to learn that you need to skate through your heels and the flats of your feet very quickly.
yeah.
So I would keep that in mind, because my first day on the ice, I tried to have a very rollerbladery, like, lean 40 kind of position, and I caught the toe pick a couple times and
Not work.
sliding. Yeah. And you get a special kind of like abrasion when like your skin is sliding across the ice. Like you think it's going to be smooth, right? But it can be very like akin to sandpaper. It really can.
Yeah. I guess I don't remember my positioning, my body positioning the first time I used ice figure skates, but
yeah,
I definitely remember
the skating though, when you can't. I mean, you can't have like the rollerbladery position in quad skates because
no.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and you have a way shorter wheelbase in quads, so
Exactly.
you really have to be. You really do have to be like skating in the center for most of the time in quads because your wheelbase is so short.
Yeah.
Eric Gonzalez, as a noob to both and being able to use the same boot, the power slide towel, and switch out frames as needed, going slow, getting the feel and balance works.
Let's go.
I really think that is such an underrated approach.
Yeah.
Honestly, everybody wants to get in their skates and go as fast as possible. And we've all seen that jerk at the rink or in the trail skating group that can't stop to save their life, and they still want to skate faster than everybody, and it puts everybody at risk. So don't be that guy.
Yeah, don't skate with your ego.
Yeah, absolutely. I still occasionally catch the middle of the blade. Matt, what kind of skating do you do? Do you use hockey skates on the ice, or are we talking figure skates here? Dude, you were talking about catching your toe pick on the ice? That's the worst. Yeah. Oh, figure. Yeah. We got another figure skater in the house. That's what's up.
Let's go. Yeah. So the first ice skates that I got were like those Jackson recreational figure skates that they make, and they're like a soft boot, but they're super tall. Yeah, I took them in the next day and had them grind like the very front tooth off the toe pick.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, I still had it in my mind at the time because I'd stumbled upon those like freestyle ice skater dudes on YouTube. You know the ones I'm talking about?
So when you say
they're in hockey skates, but they yeah. And I had it worked out in my mind, like, oh, I should do this because then I can work on like slalom moves and stuff too, because the blades are conducive to that. You absolutely can't do that in like figure skate. Like you're not gonna do a crazy legs in figure skates. So to me, it was like, yeah, I'm just gonna start off with these Jacksons and then I'll get some. But yeah, I sort of like you, I fell in love with the whole academic ladder of figure skating and just how like good at teaching and programming and stuff, like things that you're supposed to learn are.
Right. I want to pull up a video of that, by the way. Because you're talking about
Oh, the freestyle ice skating.
yeah. This is oh no. Let's get back. So these guys are, I don't know if we can, here I'm gonna,
There we
there
go.
we go. There we go. So like let's get to some of the tricks. Because okay. So this dude,
I want to take that comment down. It's kind of covering the feet.
oh yeah, I see you. Thanks, dude.
Yep.
So yeah, some of this stuff is really cool. And honestly, like I see rollerbladers doing a lot of this stuff all the time. Like this is a popular quad skating move.
Yeah.
Where he was like swinging his leg around, and then this is like a very stylized barrel roll / hez mixture. But I like this guy's style. He's pretty cool. Some of this stuff I jack around with on figure skates, and it's it works kind of.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited. I'm gonna get some of those FR ice blades at some point, and like give those a run. So yeah, in my mind, it'll be like the perfect compromise where like I can have a blade to where I can do like slalomy type of things, but then I don't have to deal with the hockey boot. You know, because like Humbo was saying, is like the lateral support in hockey boots like gets a little sketchy pretty quickly. You know, which I don't know why they're not made like that. Like I don't know why they like cut them out under the ankles.
Yeah, I haven't used my hockey skates in a while, so I feel like they would be kind of foreign. But I have never used what you're talking about, where we have inline skates and that you change out the frames. For blades.
Yeah.
I know like that sort of thing has kind of been around for a while. Like I remember before I was making YouTube videos, I remember watching Bill Stoppard like skating through the woods in a Canadian winter with those, and it's just like the woods are just a big sheet of ice.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so cool, but I never, and Power Slide made their Trinity ice blades.
Yeah.
And I know Tiago has a pair of those, and I know a couple of other people who have some.
Yeah, if I remember right, Tiago's complaint about his was like in the back they're like square instead of round, which is a very weird design choice. But yeah, there's a couple different grades of them. Like the cheap ones that you can get, like they just screw in via your axles on normal frames, which I don't like the idea of at all because it seems like I'm gonna go on a deep edge and then like the edge of the frame is gonna touch down. You know, it seems like a very real possibility. But the Power Slide ones and the FR ones are both like dedicated. Like this is all that this thing does. You know, it's like just like an ice blade on like a 165 mount.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can't speak to the quality of the steel. They're probably not going to be as fast as your MKs, but yeah, flex them.
Yeah. MK Dance. And the ice skate companies, they're not like the inline skate. They're not generous like the inline skate companies are. Like, we reach out to inline skate companies like the Endless Blading Company and Rollerblade and Flying Eagle and et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of the time, those companies, because Drew and I have audiences, a lot of those companies are more than willing to send us stuff. Ice skating, they're dealing with bigger people. They've got Jason Brown to sponsor.
Yeah, they've got Olympians on their stuff.
Yeah. So these are an out of pocket thing, and MK blades ain't cheap. These blades were $650 just for the blades. So yeah, gotta flex them a little bit because I had to drop some coin to get my hands on them. But they're honestly amazing, dude. I've used 5 sets of figure skating blades so far, and they're these MK dance blades and the John Wilson Coronation Ace Light are easily the best, and I prefer a 7-foot rocker over 8-foot rocker all day. all day. So we got some more comments here. Some praise in the comment. Aya, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Hello, David, new subscriber here. Really enjoy your content. You're helping me learn my edges as I learn how to rollerblade. Well, that's awesome, Aya, because edges are the most important part of skating. I think Drew would agree with that.
Edges and posture, yeah.
Yes, yes. If you have not, so you probably have. If you're new to the channel and you're talking about edges, you've probably seen this video. But if you haven't, I have a video that's called like the 6 points of skating edge theory. You need to check that out. It basically talks about how you have an inside and an outside edge, and then you have 6 placement points in your foot where you can apply pressure. And really like understanding where to apply pressure is the first step. But like Drew said, posture is also really important, really important. And that is something that unfortunately I won't say that like, oh, rollerbladers just all have bad posture, because that's definitely not true. But I would say, I mean, would you agree, Drew, that like out of
rollerbladers have bad posture?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I don't think that all rollerbladers have bad posture, but I think it's definitely like roller skating and rollerblading, you're definitely more likely to see bad posture than you are on the ice.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Which is interesting because a lot of, I don't know, I seem to think like a lot of rollerblading seems to think that it's like free from the idea of like aesthetics to the degree that like figure skating cares about aesthetics and stuff, but it's just like a different brand. Like when you see somebody like do a jump and then they like stomp it and then like do like this little thing, and then like they skate and they're leaning forward all the time. It's like it's just a different thing. It's just that one is actually according to how your body works and the other one's just stylized.
Anyway, I've learned that once you learn your edges, you have learned to skate. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty true.
Yeah,
that's pretty true. I mean,
yeah,
I would say that you have a foundational skill set, right? And so you got to know how to skate forward, you got to know how to skate backward, you got to know how to skate sideways, and then there's like variations. Yeah, there's variations of those things where you don't want to just be able to skate forward, backward, and sideways, but only in a straight line. You want to be able to turn around stuff. You want to be able to skate on one foot. So really, you need to have a solid balance. Crossovers and power pulls are in that skill set. So I would say that you have a list of skills that you need to be able to do competently before you can say that you've really got a good understanding of your edges. But yeah, the edges are very important.
Pulling it back to the topic at hand, what skill do you think when you see people wizard skating on Instagram, what are they lacking?
What's posture?
Okay.
Posture. A lot of the time posture. And so I will say that I see some of them have good posture. Like a select few that I watch have good posture. But still, and this leans into a gear problem, it's that, and I've said before, I don't personally agree with the wizard skating scene when they say that the UFS platform is the best for wizard skating. I don't think that that dancey tricks like and 3 turns and things like that are best done on a flat platform. And I can say that because my jam skating platform is completely flat, no heel whatsoever. So, and that stuff doesn't work in jam skates very well at all. It's a completely different style of jam skating. So I think that the platform that they use is problematic to their posture because they have a long frame and their feet are flat, and And like you said before, they do have like kind of a slight angle, but
It's not the same.
no, it's not the same at all, and it's still flat. You know, it's flat. It's just your toes are lower and your heel is higher, but the connectivity of the frame and the boot is perfectly flat.
Yeah.
And so they when they do these tricks, they have to get real low and wide to make them happen. And I think that causes a lot of postural issues.
Yeah, I was thinking about the other day too, just the difference in the mounting. So one of the times I went skating fairly recently, within the past couple months, I set up some K2s I had that are UFS with like 4x84 frames, and they felt like really short in the heel, which made me like kind of uncomfortable. And it made me understand like why a lot of them say like 4x90 is sort of like the minimum. But the thing is, like, when you have the 165 mount, which is like centered on the heel basically, right? So like a size 40 boot and a size 44 boot, if you put a 4x84 frame on them, like relative to where the foot is, the heel wheel is going to be in the same place, which is just better for the style of skating, because that heel security is so important. And being able to trust your edges and like stand up and skate through your heels and, you know, do a back edge and like trust it and stuff. So then when you have to have like a minimum of like a 4x90 frame to get that sort of trust, you know, in the back, then you've also locked yourself into a much bigger turning radius, which then affects all of your moves because you have to do them on a bigger radius. Going back to the thing that I asked you, one of the things that I've noticed that people need to benefit or could benefit from, 1 foot balance, I think, is a big thing. And I think it's because a lot of the wizard skating grew out of like 2 foot maneuvers, like the gazelle and the tsunami, or the 2 foot 3 turn and the corkscrew are the things that people learned first. But there are so many times I'll see people do like, I don't know, say like a back end side 3 turn and just sort of whip it, scrape it around, and then the other foot like immediately comes down. And it's like you can tell that they can't like really do the move.
Yeah.
It's they can do the motion of the move, but as far as like having like a good entry and a good exit edge, like it's not quite there.
Right. Right.
So as the style continues to evolve and involve more 1 foot maneuvers, which you know, if me and you have our way, it will, because nobody's doing brackets, nobody's doing counters, nobody's doing rockers, and those are all 1 foot moves.
No. Right.
I can see a lot of that stuff like starting to clean itself up as people get into that. And again, with the 2 wheel or the 2 foot stuff, like the big thing right now is like the double toe and the double heel thing, which is so weird to me. Because like a couple of years ago, if you had done a double toe roll on like any setup, people would be like, you need to go learn that on 1 foot. And then it's like actually a trick. I don't know what you're doing. And now it's like, yeah, everywhere.
Dude, you know what wizard skating needs? More girls, more women.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what wizard skating needs. I think that
Do you think the masculine aesthetic is kind of killing it a little bit?
I think that the best wizard skaters that I see are women who have slalom and ice figure skating experience. That's what I think. I think that the cleanest people doing the wizard style of skating are coming from those backgrounds. And it just so happens that, you know, there's more women figure skaters. Stephanie Law. I know you watch Stephanie Law. I love Stephanie Law's videos, and she does like, I know she has some figure skating experience. I don't know how extensive it is.
It's a little way back for her, like
yeah,
or something. You
know? I know she did it when she was much younger, but like she's really into slalom now, and she's making blended moves. You know, I've seen a handful of tricks that I only see her do. And they're definitely wizardy looking, but I don't know if people are like really acknowledging that it's wizard, because I know there's that conversation where, you know, Yeah, and we could go down a rabbit hole there, but
Yeah, and I know, well, at least in her mind, like there seems to be like kind of a separation, like between like, okay, like I'm doing like wizard skating stuff now, so it's like this sort of thing, and I'm doing like slalom now, so it's like this sort of thing, and like there's like an aesthetic kind of thing that follows. But I'm seeing her slowly kind of be like, no, screw that. I'm just gonna like put these lines together, and they're gonna have some slalom moves in them, and they're gonna have like some more figure skatery type like posture and expression, and then there's some sure quote unquote like wizard stuff in there, and I guess a footwork line is sort of like a wizard skating concept, but yeah, she's really just like opening it up, and it's really cool to see, for sure.
I want to take a couple more questions. We could stay on this topic for a while. I'm sure we'll get back to it. So
Yeah.
Decoy says, I miss the awesome tutorial videos David makes. Any plans for new tutorial videos coming? So I do want to make tutorials. One, I enjoy teaching, and two, they're just good for the channel. They have more longevity than any type of video, right? So if you make product reviews, the product becomes obsolete, or people put out enough reviews, then they buy the product. Tutorials are like, how many people pull up a tutorial and they watch it one time and they're like, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
It's like I consider myself a pretty good skater, and I don't even do that. If I'm learning a tutorial, I go back and examine, and I play in like 0.5 speed and stuff. So yeah, it gets a lot of view time, and then YouTube views that as like, oh well, this video is very popular and people are coming back to it and they're watching it over and over and over. So so yeah, it's I want to do tutorials, but I feel like that's not my it's not in the forefront of my mind right now. I'm just trying to get content back on the channel and just get involved, because I haven't been. And I'm also spending a lot of time on the ice learning myself. So I wanna let my style evolve, my understanding of skating evolve a little, and then try to come back to teaching with a more knowledgeable perspective, and have a different focus than what, like when my channel was new, where I was like, okay, I want to teach this move, I'm just going to make a tutorial. I want to teach this move, I just want to make a tutorial. And then I had, some like my edge theory video and some others about like how to skate smoothly and how to think about skating and stuff. But yeah, I would just I'd like to create a new approach to that. So maybe like more toward the end of this year, maybe I'll start considering doing that. What else do we got here? We got some more comments. Aya says, I have a question. If you're sore, should you take the day off skating when you're first learning? I'm curious. I think maybe. It depends on if it's a good sore or a bad sore. What do you think, Drew? What are your thoughts on this?
So I find that quad soreness you can work through pretty easily. Like a lot of times, if you have some lactic acid built up in your quads or something, like you just go and do like any leg-based activity, and like it goes away in a little bit, and it also almost acts as like an active recovery kind of thing, because you're getting blood pumping through them and stuff. I will say, like, if you're getting really tight groin muscles, like, careful, because that's a good way to get a tear. And they do kind of work the same way, where, I mean, sometimes like, my adductors will be a little bit stiff, and then I'll go skate, and then like they'll feel fine after a while and I'm doing fine. But yeah, I remember like when I was first getting on the ice, especially, there's some times I shouldn't have gone skating, because they were just like so freaking tight, and I was convinced that like, oh, I'll just warm up a little bit and then they'll be fine. And like they weren't. So yeah, play it safely. If your quads are sore, like don't worry about it. But if you feel like you're gonna get a groin tear, just don't.
You can skate every day. Okay, so along that same line of question, Matt says, how much skating is too much, would you say, at you guys' age, for instance? So,
I mean, I don't even know the age is like necessarily a factor to it.
yeah,
You know, I mean, it's just how physically demanding is the skating that you're doing, and
yeah,
how able is your body to keep up with that demand. You know, I don't think because the way that I like to skate is very like methodical and like almost like a practice session. You know, I approach things more like a practice session than, oh, I'm gonna go skate and I'm gonna have fun because I'm a psycho and that's what's fun to me is like going out and like working on stuff and making measurable progress.
yeah.
That's a good time to me.
Skill work. Yeah,
Yeah,
same. That's what skating is to me. Everything else I get to do for fun because that is my main focus, in my opinion. And
yeah,
everything else
yeah,
is more fun when you're more skilled.
yeah. So if I wanted to go out and just like, you know, skate around the city with the bros and then like film a line really quick or something like that, like I could
Yeah.
probably like do that every day and it would be fine. But for like, you know, hardcore skill work and stuff, like you got to take a couple days off a week. You know, you have to because you're asking so much of your body. Like if you go out and you say, I'm going to do 100 freaking counters today, like you're placing very big demands on your body. And, you know, especially if that's a move that you're just like learning, for example, it's a very novel stimulus. Um, so yeah. Um, yeah.
DJ Drift King here says you can skate every day with no consequences above the age of 30. I don't
Oh,
know if
under
I
the
would
age
say
of
with
30. Under the age of 30. Maybe
oh,
the way that
yeah,
you
you're right.
skate, bro.
I mean, I don't know if I would say at any age like every day with no consequences. That you can get overtrained at any age. I was skating all through my 20s, and I skated in like elementary school. You know, I had knee problems when I was a kid because my weekend consisted of 5 hours of skating on Thursday, 8 hours of skating on Friday, 11 hours of skating on Saturday, and 4 hours of skating on Sunday. And then I played soccer the other days, and I had shin splints and knee problems. And when I had to go to the Shriners Hospital and get like a physical therapy regimen and a bunch of tests done and stuff, like around age 8 or so. So I don't think you can skate like infinitely at at any age,
Yeah.
but can you skate more at a younger age? Yeah, you have to take care of yourself a little more at an older age. I think that like he says here, over 30 you have to stretch. It's mandatory. You really should be stretching no matter at what age you are, even if you're 20. but yeah, I would say that I could skate at age 37 now. I could skate without stretching, and I've done it, but I don't like it. I don't I don't feel activated. I don't feel as in control when I first get into my skates.
Yeah.
And then my session is just better if I stretch and I'm like pulled into my full range of motion. And yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah. Did we talked about in the fitness live stream if you guys caught that? Like the concept of like an active warm up, I guess, at the beginning of a session.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Skating Southern New England says I'm 58 and can skate every day.
There you go.
Yeah, and that's what's up. Like my buddy Jan is in his early mid 60s. I forget his exact age, but he just had a birthday this past week, so he's a year
Happy
older
birthday,
now.
y'all.
Yeah, happy birthday, Jan. And he is an ice figure skater, and he skates almost every day. Like even if he's only got time to show up at the rink for like the last 30 minutes of the session in the rink that's in the mall, like he will do it. He will
Yeah.
show up. He has an annual pass at every rink in the area so that he can show up at any time that he wants and squeeze out as much skating time as possible. And I knew a guy in Oklahoma City who I'm actually looking to reach out to soon because I haven't spoken to him in years. But this guy, his name is RL, and he started skating in his late 60s. And when I met him in 2016, he was 73 and he skated 6 days a week. And I mean, he was like the city treasure in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
All of the rinks wanted him to skate with them. Like they would give him free admission because they wanted the public to see, look at this guy who is almost 75 years old and is still skating every single day. Like you can come and skate. You're not too old. So
Yeah,
it's almost like good marketing for them.
for sure. Yeah, and I don't know. Being a music teacher, I think about this all the time, like the longevity of certain hobbies, you know. Um, like I think your cam's frozen, bro. But
Is it?
oh no, you're good now. You're
Okay.
good now. Yeah.
Maybe I just had like frozen face.
Yeah, it's weird for me for people to prioritize activities like football, where it's like, what's the oldest football player, dude? You know, I mean, like there's such a limited timeline on like how long you can engage in this activity, versus something like, you know, skating or playing music and stuff like that. You can do it for, you know, basically your whole life to some degree. So that's one of the things that I love about the activity. You know, it can be as demanding as you want it to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm digging following the ice stuff you're doing. I'm not fond of ice. I've tried it several times and it's just not my thing.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. I know Jay here. He's a quad skater. So I can understand that coming from quad skates. Ice is definitely going to be more
Way different.
fun than like in coming from inline skates. But I mean, I've seen lots of quad skaters do it and love it. You just, like anything, man, if you're gonna learn a new discipline, you have to go into it with the mindset that like, I accept that I know nothing here. I accept that I am a beginner and I have to be humble here. And it's okay for me to be a beginner. I don't need to be able to skate all things like I skate quads. You know, that takes time, etc. So,
For sure.
but yeah, I get it.
Run to the bathroom really quick. So
Sure, man. No
yeah.
worries. Children over 30. The children over 30. All right, what do we got here? I inline skate, nothing aggressive. I go hard about 7 hours a week. Okay, 7 hours a week is that's pretty good. That's enough time to get seated in your skills and your abilities and have, well, really just like my girlfriend is learning to ice skate right now, and she is definitely a novice skater. She doesn't have a lot of skating experience yet. And I've told her numerous times, like, you don't have to be working on any big, expensive skills. You just, in order to get better, in order to get more comfortable, that's the first step. You just have to spend time in your skates. And if you spend 7 hours a week in your skates, dude, that's better than somebody who just shows up for an hour. You're going to get a lot of experience. There's a roller boomer in my neighborhood. I see almost every day. Has to be in his 70s. Found out he was my mom's childhood neighbor. He does a lap, then smokes a cigarette. Yeah, and he'll probably live to be like 90 in spite of the fact that he smokes. You can't play music after age 40. That's what got Beethoven. I think lead poisoning got Beethoven, dude. I think lead poisoning got Beethoven. He went deaf, and then he died from lead poisoning. Ice is awesome. You have perfect conditions, and edges grip harder the harder you lean. Finger red number one. I don't get it, but yeah, I agree. I like the ice because it's the only place where the deeper you go into your edge, the more grip that you have. kind of nice to properly recover and then do 9 days straight, and the level of comfort you have on skates is unparalleled. I would say I skate like so my skating schedule is not, I don't skate every day, but also I prioritize weightlifting and training in that respect. So I do like, so Saturday is my main skate day. That's my training day. I get up early in the morning, like 5:30, 6 a.m. and I'm on the ice by 7:45. I work with my coach for either half an hour or an hour, depending on how our schedules work out. And I practice during freestyle time on the ice on my own for an hour. And then I stretch for an hour while, they're cleaning the ice and they have like the kids classes, and then they have an adult freestyle class. So I take that, that's a half an hour. Then there's a public session that's like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And I take that. So I'm basically, I skate for 4.5 to 5 hours on Saturday. And then I stretch for an hour. And then Sunday I practice for at least an hour and a half to 2 hours. And then typically Monday will be a weightlifting day for me. And then Tuesday I'll go ice skate. And Wednesday I'll try to go to a roller rink and roller skate. So that's like another 6 hours of skating between those 2 days. And then Thursday I might skate, but I definitely do weight training on Thursdays as well. And then I'll try to do weight training on Friday, or depending on how I feel, I might take Friday as my rest day. So I think that I don't know that I would go like 9 days straight with no rest, but I mean, also I guess I could have done that when I was younger, but I've always, ever since I've started thinking of like skating and weightlifting and stuff from a training mindset, I've always tried to pick at least one day every 7 days or every 6 days to have as my rest day. I don't try to do like that skate every day for a month challenge or skate every day for a year. I know that was like a thing during COVID where people were doing like 365 days consecutive of roller skating. And I'm like, yeah, like if you put your roller skates on and roll around in your house, but I'm not going to go seriously skate with no rest days for like long periods of time.
And again, it comes down to like how you approach the session. You going to put in work, or you going to, just like put on a couple songs and like, dance for a little bit and then call it a day. But yeah, one of the things that I picked up from the fitness community is like your muscles grow when you're recovering, so yeah, you put in the work, and then the thing that's really going to make you improve in the next session is if you're fully recovered from the last session or not. Of course, there's like technique barriers and stuff like that. Like you can certainly fine tune technique, and skate like, many days in a row and like make gains that way. But then a lot of times I've had this experience where you take a day or two off after that, and then you come back and you're like freaking incredible. Like it's way better than, that fourth session or whatever you had in a row. So
yeah. Jay says, what about slow-mo? He has to be in his 60s or 70s, right? I don't know how old slow-mo is. Just a second. I'm going to put up
picture of slow-mo or video
yeah,
slow-mo.
Yeah. So here is slow-mo, and he's he's just chilling. He's got those fitness skates with the long frames. This video is 7 years old, and there's him doing a spiral and like little power pulls while he's doing a spiral. He's killing it, man. I hope I can skate at this age. Honestly, that's the goal. Take care of your body and you'll be able to skate longer. There we go. Aya says, do you feel comfortable doing weight training and skating on the same day? It depends on my regimen, but yes. Yeah. It's common that I'll do a weight training set, like a 30-minute weight training session, and then a couple hours later I'll go to my freestyle class at the ice rink.
Yeah, one of my favorite things to do is like go skating earlier in the day, and then if I look at the weather and see that it's like raining or something the next day, I'll go home and then like do a weight training thing like later that evening and just really burn everything out, you know, like just toast my freaking legs, you know, and my core and everything like that. And then because I know I have that guaranteed like rest day the next day, and
Yeah. I'm kind of with Joe here. I don't like, I'll do upper body weight training on a skate day, and then on a non-skate, I will almost always pick a non-skate day to just destroy my legs. And I've tried doing leg day and skating in the same day, and I have to take it easy on the weights, you know.
definitely. I mean, you don't put in like a proper leg day on the same day that you skate. You know, you can't hold
Right.
yourself to the same standards. You know, I mean, you cut your volume like in half at least, you know, and maybe like jump down on the weight a little bit on top of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, how's the routine going, by the way? I haven't talked to you about it since.
Okay, I will answer that, but I want you to answer this question here on the screen. Joe says he is not familiar with what a power pull is, and the power pull is something that you preach especially. So
Yeah, is a power pull an aggressive backward cross step? No. Um, so think about you're on one leg, and then you push to your inside edge and outside edge, and inside edge and outside edge, and inside edge and outside edge. If you, the most recent video that I've done a lot of them in is the CB, how CB got his moves back videos. I'm doing them at the beginning of each of those. Yeah, I need to do like a proper tutorial of them. I'm I don't know. I'm in a headspace where it's like, do I want to work on stuff and then like put out a section and then do tutorials after that, or should I just do tutorials now? And there's pros and cons to both, but yeah, there's plenty of like figure skating power pole tutorials out there, and they do an excellent job. So
let me put it on screen here. This is no offense to this lady. She doesn't have like really strong power pulls.
No.
But she's doing a good demonstration of what a power pull is. It's, you know, people might call it like a slalom, where you're slaloming from left to right, I guess.
1 foot slalom, maybe. Yeah, she doesn't have a very good knee bend.
Oh, I'm frozen.
Okay. Yeah, anyway, springy action in the knees is very important, because that's where like a lot of your power comes from. Like, I don't know if you could get away with doing power pulls like that on wheels, just because of the lack of glide.
Right. Yeah, you got to pick up some speed.
Yeah, and then having the foot out front is like it's good for when you're learning, because you can kind of like take the free leg and like if you just point it where you want to go, it makes changing edges and stuff a lot easier. But it's not something that you want to do like long term.
Right. Having some technical difficulties here, man.
Yeah.
Another
question you can pull up while you're troubleshooting.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So going back to something from earlier, really haven't looked too much in the difference between blades. Would be the difference between that MK dance you showed earlier and my MK Pro Light. Well, damn it, that's a David question.
Shoot. Here we go.
I feel like a lot of people on Instagram don't have enough strength to properly use the Wizard advanced frames, and they should practice with something shorter and lighter. Strength to use them in what regard? Something shorter and lighter. I mean, my big issue with like the advanced frames is, well, I have a couple of them. Number one, like the wheels are so far out in front that it's really only a benefit if you were doing like the double toe press thing. That's the thing that it enables you to do, and it makes like so many other things so much harder. And those things aren't necessarily in the wizard skating canon right now, but they are footwork. So again, if we're talking about counters, rockers, brackets, those are all going to be very difficult in an advanced frame. If you look at a lot of these slalom moves, those are going to be exponentially more difficult in the advanced frames. So there's all of that. And the other issue that I have with them is that I feel like it's kind of backwards in that I don't know where you would want the least swivelly wheelbases to be in the very front and in the very back, because that's where the majority of your transitions happen. So if you think about like doing like a forward inside 3-turn, let's say, so you're skating and you're going forward, and then you catch the edge and you have this little like pivot point where you transition from the inside edge to the outside edge. And then you're going to end up not necessarily going on your toe wheel, but definitely like towards the front of your blade as you make that transition. So you would want that to be a very agile position, right? And then just by virtue of having like a huge wheel next to a tiny wheel, well, a tiny wheel next to a tiny wheel is going to be very maneuverable, and a huge wheel next to a tiny wheel is going to be less maneuverable. So from a design perspective, it doesn't really make sense to me. As far as strength to use them, I don't know how strength would play into it, other than the fact that I'm sure they're very heavy. Yeah, I think a lot of people should probably learn wizard skating moves on something like a slalom frame, like a banana rocker 4x80, just because it's going to be easier than something with like the natural rocker, like a 4x100 or something like that, just because you're going to have tighter radiuses. There's going to be less out front and less out back for you to worry about. It's just easier. And, I mean, a lot of people will say like, is that cheating or something like that? And like, if you're learning a move, cheat. You know what I mean? Like, don't make things like necessarily harder on yourself when you're just like getting into something just because, you think that's like the way to do it or something like that. Like, I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Well, unfortunately, guys, it looks like the OBS studio will not recognize my camera, and I'm not sure why. So I think I'm gonna answer the questions that we have in the comment section real quick, and then we're gonna have to cut it because I can't. I may have to restart my computer in order to get this working. So
yeah, is the virtual webcam thing all messed up?
Yeah, it's so. OBS Studio has to stream the virtual cam, and I can't even get a picture at all in OBS Studio. It's not recognizing the image from my camera.
You should put up your profile picture on Facebook.
My profile picture on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what we got here. Is that blank image. But anyway, okay, so we had this question going back to something from earlier. Really haven't looked too much in the difference between blades. What would be the difference in the MK Dance you showed earlier and the MK Pro Lite? So I don't have any experience with the Pro Lite. I don't really know anything about it. I can say that I have the John Wilson Coronation Ace Lite, and I know that MK Pro and the John Wilson Ace are kind of competitors to each other. So what I would say is, one, it's lighter. And then the rockers are different. The profiles are different because you have a dance blade versus a freestyle blade. And a freestyle blade is always going to be, or typically going to be, slightly wider. So you're going to have more surface contact on the ice, but that doesn't mean that you're going to have more grip. I skated today my Coronation Ace blade after using my MK Dance blade for like 2 hours, and even though the Coronation Ace Light was longer, it felt a lot less stable and kind of wobbly. So I gotta say, it's really more about what you're doing. The difference is the dance blade is a dance blade. It doesn't have much of a toe pick compared to a freestyle blade, so you're not going to do a lot of jumping. And if you do jump, your technique is going to have to be spot on, and your touch is going to have to be real light. So it's not friendly to that. And then you're going to get better edges out of the dance blade than the freestyle blade. Wouldn't you agree with that, Drew?
Yeah, a dance blade is made for dancing.
Yeah. All right, guys. Sorry we had to cut it short, but we did an 1.5-hour stream, and this was fun. It was really fun hanging out with everybody and talking with Drew and having time with the audience. We gotta do this more often. I love it. All right, guys. If you're not subscribed to Deez Skates, if you're here, you're probably subscribed to Deez Skates. But if you're not, make sure to subscribe to Deez Skates. And I've got a link in the description to Drew's channel, City Blades. You can go check him out and subscribe to him. And I'm going to push him to host one of these on his channel.
Oh, are we doing that? Am I allowed? Am I allowed to host?
What do you mean? Are you allowed to host? You're allowed to host. So yeah. So I'm gonna have him skate on his channel. He skates on his channel all the time. I'm gonna have him host on his channel sometime. So you got to be subscribed to City Blades so you get notifications for that. And all right, guys, y'all have a good night. We'll see you the next time we lace up.
Escalator.